We are live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee, and we have our friend Candace back with us.
Hi,
And you
friends.
can't see him, but we do have Tom Wells. He is, Tom's world traveler. So Tom's on his way back. Tom, where are you at?
I'm actually just northeast of Lexington, Kentucky, returning from the Tennessee area.
I got you.
Fun.
So where you been?
We were at a place called Douglas Lake, which is near Pigeon Forge, staying with family for a birthday.
I know where that is. I spent a lot of time at Pigeon Forge. I know Laura doesn't want to be on, but I know Laura can hear us, so we got to say hi to Laura. Laura, we appreciate you you letting Tommy join us tonight. We got a lot to talk about real quick. It's
Hello. Thank you.
So Tom, Candace and I were talking off camera a minute ago that it's a weird time because Tuesday night, we did our show Tuesday night, and you were out of town, and Jason was with us, and we had a great show. And the show right before we went on, Jason's show, they went on, and they had probably one of the best. I watch all their shows, one of the best shows that they've had. And the next morning, Wednesday morning, I text Jason, I messaged Candace, and I said, "Man, this was a great show." I was feeling really, really good. And then, a few hours later, just the whole world changed. So, Tommy, where were you at when you heard what happened?
Well, I was actually on my way home from the Ohio chapter FBI National Academy retrainer, which we had our business meeting, and then we were putting on our annual fall training session, and it ends in the middle of the day on the last day of training, which was Wednesday. And I was just driving home and was looking forward to spending the evening, with Laura before we headed out of town on Thursday to do this trip. And when I heard the news on the radio, I was listening to Fox on Sirius Satellite, and it just knocked me over. I was just completely bowled over when I heard it. And I just, I know who Charlie Kirk is. I've followed him a little bit, but not to the extent that, I'd say I'm probably your typical person who knew who he was, but maybe wasn't as active in following him per se. But, over the next couple of days, just absorbing to me, it's the cataclysm of the whole thing was just, it brought back a lot of feelings about our officer that was killed and not so much about her per se, but it was just the feeling of that raw sense of why would a person do something just so personal and so ugly, and of course the fact that it struck at the heart of our democracy, the being able to speak freely, that just ripped me up. But go ahead.
Candace, what about you? Where were you at, and what and how did you find out?
That was like a whirlwind. I was actually on my way to get my daughter from school, and I just called my husband to check in, let him know what I was doing. And he was like, "Hey, Charlie Kirk got shot." And then in the interim of him telling me this, I was flooded with text messages and then, of course, TikTok messages. And the one message that I had was from my neighbor who was actually in Italy at the time. And she was like, "Hey, Charlie Kirk just got shot. My daughter sent me this." And her daughter is in college locally. And it was a very close up video of Charlie Kirk getting shot. And my instant reaction, he's telling me, "Hey, he got shot." I'm watching this video at the same time. I just started crying. I've like, because we all knew what we saw. Especially that up close shot, you can see it. You don't have to be a fucking doctor to know, like, that's it. It's over. That's game over. We're done. And just watching that video, I couldn't even get it together, and I had to go get my daughter. And the whole time I'm driving her home, I'm crying, and she's only 3. And she's like, "Mom, are you sad?" And I was like, "No, I'm not sad." Trying to let her know nothing's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And she kept asking to see my face because she knew I was crying, but I kept telling her I wasn't. And I just wouldn't turn around to let her see my face because I was just so emotional. I was completely overcome with emotion. And I think it was partially because of what I had just seen, like this guy died on camera. I was becoming a pretty consistent Charlie Kirk fan. I was watching a lot of his videos. They were popping up. I was referencing him a lot at home. And I was just, number two, completely shocked. And number three, I knew what this meant for the rest of the way shit was going to go. Like, I knew this was a full on, this is going to be a mutiny. I already knew, I could tell you the dynamic of how this went down, who it was, what the circumstances were. Anybody could. And it was just a reinforcement of how terrible things are and how it could be any one of us. We're all very vocal. We all are, getting to a place where we're not afraid to say how we feel. And it was almost like a reinforcement of, we should be fucking afraid, because if somebody doesn't like what we have to say, it could be any of us, whether it be at the grocery store, whether it be, wherever. It doesn't matter. If somebody doesn't want to hear you speak, they will make sure to silence you, and they're not afraid of jail, and they're not afraid of public shame. They will do it with what they need to do. And that is a frightening realization. And that's just what has taken me down the rabbit hole for the last, what are we, 6 days in now, 5 days
Yeah.
in? It's a really concerning viewpoint now.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tommy. I'm pulling up this video. Go ahead while I pull it up.
Okay. Yeah, Candace, I couldn't agree more. The whole, having been a police officer for, almost 35 years, having seen more than my fair share of blood and guts, I'll be honest with you, I won't watch the video. I know James sent it out to us, as soon as it happened. And, when I walked in the door at home and, got confirmation that it literally had just come over that he had died, I was just stunned. And when I saw, James's message, I couldn't click on it. I did not want to see it. I still haven't seen it to this day, and I don't think I will. I just
do yourself the favor.
Yeah, I won't. But I do feel like the way it was put out there, and that so many have seen it. I know my daughter's seen it, and she's just so furious, and it just it almost is like, I feel like you almost should see it so that you properly put into perspective how there's so many things, just the preciousness of life and how fragile it is, and that somebody, a total nothing, no violence against anybody is worthy, but this guy is so nothing compared to Charlie Kirk, and I'm just so sick and tired, whether it's the spree shooters of our country or whether it's these assassin types who are just in it for a name. That's all they have, nothing else going for them. And I'm a very strong proponent of mental health assistance, but I also, there's a point where people have got to start taking responsibility, not just for their own actions, but people have to take care of each other. And if you see behavior like that, just people have got to start saying something, because it just can't keep happening. And I agree, Candace, what you said about the effect that this is like. I knew right away that this was like almost like 9/11. When I said to my daughter, I actually talked to her about an hour after I found out the confirmation that he had died. And while I was talking to her, I started crying. And I said to her, this is the Martin Luther King of your generation. This is someone who's so larger than life and so impactful. And this guy, Tyler, whatever his name is, did nothing but amplify Charlie's voice thousands-fold. And thank God for that.
No, you're right, Tom. And my daughter was the one that called me, and she's very in tune with politics. She's a political consultant, but she's also 23. This is her generation. I know that she followed Charlie, and it was it's just. You're right. I did a couple of videos, and I did a write-up on this on Facebook, Tom. I don't know if you saw it. And
I have not yet, but I will look at it.
But I did a comparison. I did a breakdown of the difference between, the similarities of Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk, and very much. So our friend Tyler.
I did see that.
So our friend Tyler's in the chats. Tom, he said, "Don't say the shooter's name because it stains his name." Welcome, Tyler. I'm so glad you're here. This is I know you feel Tyler's in Canada, and I know y'all are feeling it up there. Any conservative, anybody with a voice, anybody that likes to that likes to, voice their opinion on politics, this definitely has affected them. And I guess I knew that. I guess I knew that. Charlie was a very. I don't have. Y'all let me not even have my damn lights on. Look, see this how much of a train wreck I am right now. Let me have my lights on.
It's because I'm on. See, you had such great shows when I wasn't here.
No, but I guess I knew there was going to be some people that were happy. I wasn't ready for the common people to do some of the things that they were. It's just really it's just sickening, and 5-6 days later, I'm still angry, and it's and I think we're going to be angry for a long time, and we should be.
It's the double down for me. Like, I think everybody is, those that are speaking negatively, they're doing it because they know what this looks like. They know how bad it is. And they're like, well, shit, I need to double down on this now. And that's
100%
exactly what they're doing. And instead,
right.
they're just making it worse, and they're just pointing themselves out, and they're throwing every sort of hypocritical circumstance. Like, what about Melissa Hortman? Like, what about her? You
Yeah.
guys didn't open your mouths about her 3 months ago, and now you want to have a conversation. Conservatives wanted to talk about her in June.
Well,
Now
yeah.
you guys want to talk about her 3 months later.
Well, you know why they didn't fucking talk about her in June?
Because they couldn't paint it as a MAGA shooter. That's why.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, Tim Walz had something to do with this.
Of course he did. And that's why he stripped his social media like faster than that fucking Wiener guy, whatever. And he was like, that's it. No, nothing to see here. I was never friends with school shooters. Not this guy, though. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. And it's so easy to see through it.
I've been trying to, we've tried to talk about it. You can't get any information on that.
No, it's gone. That's gone. As fast as it happened, they were like, look at conservative guy. And then as soon as they couldn't paint that picture, it was like, oh shit, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. Just like they're doing with the Charlotte light rail, just like they do with the Colorado shooter who wound up coming out as an anti-Semitic. Whose rhetoric is that? Surely not the right people. That is on the left, my friends. And every time they find the person, they can't explain it. And so they move on to the next thing.
So that's what they kept trying to do. Every time I posted a video, I know you went through the same thing, Candace. Every time you posted a video, you had these trolls that were, no, he was a follower. I don't even know who Nick Fuentes is. I don't know who that is. He was a follower of Nick Fuentes. I'm like, man, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
it's just shut up. You look stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. And that's not, I guess I wasn't ready for the magnitude of the hate. And that it's so all right, I'm gonna pull this video up. I want to listen to just this George Carlin real quick, and then we got to, I can't believe that the example that we're going to show of how you should handle this as a liberal, the biggest liberal on the face of the earth, probably handled this right. It was Bernie Sanders. Tom sent me the video a few minutes ago. I don't know if you've seen it. And you know what? That's the way it should be. Let me get it. I'm getting ahead of myself as usual.
You're excited.
I'm excited tonight. I got my mad shirt. You can't see it, Tom. I got my mad shirt on tonight that says, when I die, don't let me vote Democrat.
Don't worry, we got you.
Wait, can y'all hear that? All right, could y'all hear that?
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't meaning to play it yet, but hold on. All right, we're going to play it now.
You know what's interesting about assassination? Well, not only does it change those popularity polls in a big fucking hurry, but it's also interesting to notice who it is we assassinate. Do you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully. Bam!
Facts.
173 of.
Okay, that makes sense, right? I mean,
Facts.
Yeah,
George Carlin said this over 20 years ago. And it's facts. And
It is. I tell you, when you say that 20 years ago, because it's timeless, it's correct, it's accurate, it never changes.
That's right.
And it is. It's just a fact that when people are trying to bring people together, they want people on the far left want that voice silenced because they want chaos, and I don't understand why. I really don't. I'm so glad Candace brought up the term. I just wanted to come back to this real quick. When you said earlier about doubling down, I cannot, for the life of me, which is one of the chief points in the liberal playbook, is doubling down on the wrong side of the issue. But it just amazes me how people who are, they're not stupid. I have a lot of friends who, liberals and they're smart. You know what I mean? They're not. There are some that are idiots, just like there's some stupid, conservatives. But how you can be so completely obtuse and not realize what you're saying and how ugly and offensive it is, and be proud of it. It's just, and then continue to spew it, and then be like, for example, now, like this repercussion thing where people are getting fired left and right, and they're all crying on, they're shooting videos of themselves crying about losing their jobs. Come on. I've never seen anything so pathetic. It's that.
Yeah, you're embarrassing yourself. You made yourself look stupid.
Where are the COVID people that did that? Anybody who lost their job during COVID? Did you make a video and cry about it on the internet? Anybody?
Nope.
No, nobody did.
I had to go to work every damn day when I was in COVID was going on.
Right? Or that. It's, you know what? They double down because at this point they have gone so far to the extremes that they cannot physically come out and be like, you know what, maybe we were wrong on this one. They are so far away from any sort of type of reasoning that this will always be the end up. And that's why you see a lot of things today where it's funny. Like, anybody who's ever been in any sort of like emotionally abusive relationship knows this is what they're doing now. It went from, you guys are a threat to democracy, yada, yada, yada. And now they're like, oh, well, we just want to talk. We should talk. You guys are so angry. We should talk. And we're like, hi, we were trying to talk, and you killed the guy. You killed the guy who wanted to talk. Like, we're not talking anymore. Now we're going to be mean. I'm sorry. It's just insane how now they're shocked and they're surprised at the type of force that they are getting, and that we're like, no, actually we're going to go get you fired now, and actually we're going to blacklist you now, and actually we're going to spam your social media accounts. And now they're like, wait, we want to talk. Sorry, we want to talk. It's just
they don't want to talk. They won't.
No, they never did.
I tell you what, they don't want to listen. That's for sure. And I know you saw the video I did on that, and I said this on Jason's show the other night. What the fuck do you want to talk about? Charlie Kirk lived his life to have the conversations that you say you want to have.
Yep.
He was the absolute best conversationalist when it came to the matters that he believed in, conservative matters. He was the best. And you know what y'all did to him? Y'all killed him. So what the fuck do you want to talk about? We were having the conversation every day. And you killed our conversationalists. So I don't want to talk anymore.
Right.
And I still feel this way.
That's where the country is right now. People are done talking.
Yeah.
People are done.
I was mad the other day when I said this. Well, you know what? I still mean I don't want to talk to you. If you're a liberal, I have nothing to say to you. You need to go fuck yourself. You're not reasonable. You're not intelligent. You can't have an intelligent conversation. And here's the biggest thing that I have a problem with. They don't do their homework. They don't do their research. They listen to these little bullets and they carry, they carry other people's message. They don't do any research. That's why I go off so much every time somebody mentions George Floyd, because anybody that still thinks George Floyd died at the hands of the police have not done any research. They didn't watch any body cam video. So what is there to talk about? You don't want to hear what anybody has to say. Charlie Kirk, I've always watched him. But since he died, I watched even more, and I know that you probably did too, Candace. The man was he definitely didn't hold his words, but he was kind.
He was respectful.
Yes, he was kind.
Yes, always. He never even said a bad word.
He didn't cuss. He never raised his voice. And you know what the liberals are famous for? What he never did? He never shouted one person down. That's all liberals know how to do.
That's all they do anymore is
yeah.
cuss. They cuss and they shout people down.
Yep.
Well, and that's why they don't like him. That's why they didn't like him, because he was able to make his point, and he was able to do it that used, all of those respectful tactics to have a conversation. And
Uh-huh.
he was able to get his point across, and they just looked as stupid as they are, as they will continue to be. They do not have the ability to voice their viewpoints in a way that is intelligent, in a way that makes sense, and in a way that is correct. And to go back to everybody sharing the sound bites, I would like to publicly tell Stephen King to go fuck himself. And I don't
Yeah.
give a shit about his apology. He can stick it right up his asshole where it belongs.
That was not a
Because
real
it was,
apology. That was a
he knew
bullshit
exactly what he was
apology.
saying. And he needs to just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And I hope Erica Kirk does follow through. I read a thing where she was considering legal action against him for saying what he said about
She
stoning
should.
gays, because he did post as a response to somebody else's message. He never did say that gays should be stoned. I mean, he in his own post said that he was basically misstating the truth. And
Yeah, he said he never said that.
couldn't agree more. People. Right. Well, first he said he never said it, and then he acknowledged saying it, and that Charlie never said it. Correct. Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he was. Oh, yeah, he never said he was stoning gays. And here's the thing, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent. My apologies, James, but this is also a deeper problem.
That's why I brought you on to go on a tangent. That's why I brought you on. So go on your tangent.
But this is the problem when, and I said this to my husband earlier, when you have everybody and their mother, like, Kevin in his basement, in his mom's basement, creating religion and putting it out there. There is a standard original guide, okay? Just like the Pope, when the Pope goes on and is like, maybe marriage isn't between man and a woman. It creates problems. And this is why we also have these additional problems, because yes, Charlie was speaking from the Bible. When Charlie would state things like, hey, transgenderism isn't really a thing, doesn't exist in this document, it became a hate speech. But this is the reality. And I know that there are other religions out there that like to take and pick and choose and create a religion that's, just for them and so inclusive. And here's the deal. Religion wasn't fucking inclusive when it came to decisions that you should not be making. And that's just the way that it is. I'm sorry if that's offensive. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that is the way that it is. When it says marriage is between a man and a woman, I don't know what to tell you. My sincerest apologies. You can do whatever the hell you want, but at the end of the day, it still says that shit. And it's not for any. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
To say that's hate speech.
Right. Well, and then the vilification of the Christian faith. I mean, the Islamic faith is very hardcore when it comes to these kind of rules, and you don't ever hear anybody talking about, these horrible followers of Islam and Muhammad, because if you did some of the things we do in America over there, they would kill you, or they would stone you. They would. I mean, there's
absolutely. They would legitimately stone you to death. And it's insane to me, and it bothers me because my husband is half Arab and half Greek, so his father is from Israel, like direct, like they're Christian Arabs, and so they know a lot of the differences between those religions and what actually goes on there. And it pisses me off that there's these like snooty white ass Americans that come here with their black thick liberal glasses talking all this nonsense about shit that they don't know, and then they're trying to adopt these very like cherry picked religions where it's just so great and fancy and be who you want to be and Jesus loves you no matter what. This is the end up, because no, actually, that's not how it is. And when you have somebody like Charlie Kirk saying, traditionalism, talking about marriage, talking about homosexuality in regards to faith, everybody gets upset and pulls their guns out. It's interesting, if you ask me.
So I'm going to show this video, but I do want to circle back to, I want to talk about, and this has to do with this case, is I want to talk about the trans issue and the gay versus trans issue, because I'll get back to that, but that's a total, they should take the T out of LGB, because trans has, if you talk to people who are gay, they don't
like this. They don't like this trans.
This whole trans thing is not part of the gay community. That's not that. And I'll tell that story in a second. But I want to when the liberals.
just to piggyback on that too, I'm a hairdresser. I've been a hairdresser for over 20 years. All I have had at one point or another was the gay community, right? Like that's it's a plethora. And so many of them that I had gotten close bonded with, they do not like this. This is not what they stood for. They know what body they have, and that's what it is. And that's it. So to see this whole movement, it's so inaccurate. It actually puts, the LGBT community back so far. And I
Yeah.
think the whole thing is just a complete and utter mockery of everything.
Well, let's go ahead and cover that before we do this video. I'll tell you that I'm pro gay marriage, and I'll tell you why. Is because I have, and she's not my biological daughter. She's somebody who I call a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I actually officiated, well, 2 of her weddings, and she's divorced again. So she might be, I'm not doing a third one. I told her I'm not doing a third one because I'm 0-2. So I'm not going to do a third one. But I saw how much these 2 women, both times she was married, how much they loved each other the time they got married. But that's totally different. And I'm not, trying to say, I'm not the guy, I have a black friend or I have a gay friend.
Right.
I agree. I was kind of indifferent on it, I guess. But the whole trans issue is a total different thing. I don't think that gay and trans should be mixed up, because I do not think that if you're gay, you're mentally ill. It's 100%. A sexual preference.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe with you love who you love when it comes to that. But a man cannot be a woman, and a woman cannot be a man. That's not possible. If you're a man, you think you're a woman, you're mentally ill. Plain and simple. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to speak for the lesbian and gay community right now and say, get the trans out of it.
Seriously.
Because it's not the same. It's not the same thing.
And they know it. They know it. I'm telling you, again, I do weddings. How many same-sex weddings have I done? A plethora. As a libertarian, I don't give a fuck who you marry. I don't care who you marry, as long as it's not a child, an animal, or multiple people. Go off, do you. What I don't like is this type of culture that is coming in, and it's the forced acceptance. Modify, when you say, you, as the opposing person, you need to modify yourself to fit my needs, whether it be a litter box, whether it be, all of this healthcare I need to fund for you to get gender assignment surgery. I have to give you the bathroom of your choice. When I have to modify my lifestyle to fit your needs, that is a problem. And we should all feel that way, because it's not what America is for. No. You want to do your crazy shit, do it, but do it on your own and don't involve everybody else.
No. There comes back that whole argument about civil rights versus special rights. You know what I mean? I could care less what people do in the privacy of their own home. And I've seen plenty of people out there in public where I know they're a man, but they look like they're dressed, where they're basically like a man dressed as a woman with makeup and the whole 9 yards on. And frankly, I don't care. But as you said, Candace, so appropriately, don't force that on me and make me have to say, well, it's either okay or that I have to adjust something about the way I am, because no, I don't. I don't. Just as like I'm not trying to force my lifestyle on them. I don't want them forcing their lifestyle on me. And I do think that whatever people are going through that are in a situation where they feel like they were born in the wrong body, I have no experience with that, so I can't comment on at all what that feels like. But here's what I will tell you. The way the left has grabbed this and made this such a polarizing issue that if you are against, or if this is in some way, shape, or form something that you don't agree with, that you're a horrible person. You know what I mean? Or the same with the other issues. It's not just that's okay, well, you're a conservative and you don't like that. It's become you're a horrible person because you won't conform to our beliefs. That's why this is so dangerous. And then you get these wackadoos like this guy that killed Charlie, who get more and more and more out there and more deep into the internet. And the next thing you know, they're radicalized to the point where they're willing to do it. I don't think there's a huge difference between people like this guy that killed Charlie and your average school shooter. These are people that
no. That's 100%. Yes.
Yeah. They all have the same problems.
Yeah. Candace said they all have the same problems.
They all have the same problems.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. I used to be a big intervention watcher. I've watched every single episode, every single season, and every single episode of intervention, it always starts off with 1 or 2 ways: sexual or physical abuse, broken home. 2 ways that it starts, and then they wind up going down the journeys of drugs and this and that, and then they're experiencing with sexuality. There are a lot of things that happen to people, and people do not know and or have the mental strength, the mental emotional strength to overcome them, and these are the end results. Oh, I'm just going to change my gender. You can't do that. The shit is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my brain around that at all. You know, I can't wrap my brain of being sexually attracted to a man. But you know what? There are men that are, you know, who the fuck am I to say they're, I mean, I feel that's how they were born and I've accepted it, but I just cannot accept the whole trans issue. And there's definitely some mental illness there. Look how many mass shootings. There's trans is just a fraction of a percent of the population, and they are involved in just some of the most heinous crimes, mass shootings. You know, definitely link. Definitely, you know, this guy who this animal who killed Charlie wasn't trans, but he was with a trans. So there's some issues with this whole trans thing. And I think that one of the problems is how much attention we are giving them. Not we, not me, us three. We're not giving them any attention, but people who is the trans king activist, Tim Walz.
Yep.
You know, look at what they're doing. And then they're making them feel like victims. And, you know, I'm tired of hearing the word empathy, because empathy to me really now means excuse. We're excusing behavior. Oh, well, they're this or they're that, or they were, you know, they're gay or they're black or they're trans. Quit fucking excusing behavior because in making them victims. Because when you make people victims, that's when they go do crazy things and they start believing that poor me. And then they start doing the things that we're seeing more of because we're giving too much empathy. Sometimes we got to tell them, hey, man the fuck up, and this is life.
Take a look at the last 5 crimes, the last 5 highly publicized, highly crazy things out there that we've seen, the last 5 of them within the last 4 months. Let's all count up the violent offenders and then let's start categorizing them, and the numbers are right there. The statistics are there. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants to be real. And as long as we're not being real and we're ignoring the numbers that are staring us in the face, we're going to continue to have these problems.
Yeah. So Tom, you can't you can't see the comments, but our friend Tyler said, if you want sympathy, it's in a dictionary between shit and syphilis.
Yeah.
I like it.
Good one, Tyler. All right, I'm gonna play this video of well, you know, it would not be a James McGee show without having some sort of Jasmine Crockett.
My favorite.
Yeah, you know, I got to play Jasmine Crockett. So, all right, let's play this one.
Crockett, of all people, is challenging anyone to find a clip of Democrats invoking violence.
These are just facts. So don't get mad that I speak the truth and I speak facts, but I literally have never said anything to invoke violence. And I challenge somebody to go and find a clip of a Democrat invoking violence.
Challenge accepted. Yeah. Go find a clip of any Democrat invoking violence.
I love it.
Here you go.
Maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
This year, this country could very well go the way of Germany in the 1930s.
Comparing the tactics of Donald Trump to Mussolini and Hitler is a very legitimate thing.
I don't care what Elon Musk is doing behind a presidential seal. In this country, we hate Nazis.
We have a Timu Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States.
Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that.
As you can see.
Congressman, will you condone violence at the time?
Mr. Stein. Well,
favorite compilation. Thank you, whoever did that.
You know, so that's the thing is, and I said this the other night, and Candace was on the chat the other night on Jason's show. And Tom, this is one thing that I said. You know, that I wish that Donald Trump wouldn't say some of the things that he says. All right.
Agreed.
But that makes him who he is. But there's a difference between us poking fun, him saying Rosie O'Donnell's a fat pig. Well, first off, he's right. She is a fat pig.
Full stop. Yep.
And saying that incendiary things, that's not making people go kill people.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Me saying Tim Walz has a tampon up his ass is not making people go kill people. But what's making people go kill people is for 10 years they've been saying Donald Trump was a Nazi. Donald Trump's trying to take your rights away. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And not just Donald Trump, but anybody that identifies like Charlie, like us, with that movement.
James, let me ask you a question. Who wouldn't want to kill someone like that?
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem with this whole thing, that these evil politicians who we just heard from on that clip have no sense in their minds of what they're doing. Is that, you know, my mom lived through that era. My mom was in Germany during World War II.
Yeah.
She saw the atrocities of war and taught me those stories. I mean, I know what she saw. I wasn't there obviously to see it myself, but I know firsthand what she went through in World War II. And she wasn't even subjected to the things that Hitler was doing to the Jews. I mean, this is just your typical average German running from, you know, place to place and not having a home anymore and trying to keep from getting blown up by, you know, bombings and stuff like that. And these assholes want to compare Donald Trump, who, like him or not, and I agree with you, he does say stupid stuff sometimes. The guy does love our country.
Oh God,
there's no way, there's no other way about it. He does. And sometimes his tactics aren't always the smartest, but he's doing a hell of a lot better job this time than he did last time. And he's assembled a hell of a crew to help him do it.
He's got the right people this time.
Huh?
He's got the right people this time.
He does have the right people. And this whole, like, this 10 years of bashing and calling them out and saying that we're all fascists and that we're, you know, what did Hillary Clinton say about us when she was running against him in 16? That we were
Deplorables.
Deplorables.
You know, those kind of things.
Hitlery.
Mentally ill people like Tyler Robinson
hear
those things and they want to act.
Mm-hmm.
They want to impress their heroes, who frankly could give two shits about him.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone in the Democrat machine gives two shits about Tyler Robinson? No. But
exactly.
I can assure you of this: Charlie Kirk did care about every single person he interacted with on those college campuses, whether he knew them or not. He genuinely cared.
And he made a difference, and that's what happened. He got too powerful, just like Martin Luther King.
Yep.
He got too powerful. He had influence, but what they don't understand, or they're going to understand, just like with Martin Luther King became more powerful once he died.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sure.
His teachings became more popular and you know, reached more people when he died.
Right.
And Charlie Kirk's teaching will live forever, and it's going to be stronger than ever.
Yes.
You know, I say I hate to politicize things, but I really don't. The midterms to me are pretty wrapped up. I think that's gonna just because of the way this has all went down.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, so that's where I stand on it. But
that'll be the new question for candidates. You remember the old question was define what a woman is.
Yeah.
Now it's define how you feel about Charlie Kirk's murder.
That's right.
Yeah, especially when you have people like Ilhan Omar going on there and saying her nonsense. You know, they're just burying themselves each and every time. And it was funny because after the Utah governor did his speech, I was watching Fox and they had said something along the lines of, hey, we've contacted some Democrats because, you know, we want to try to get both people on this show to have some real conversation. So maybe we can break those barriers. And we haven't heard back from any Democrats thus far. And so the double down is real. And it's like, guys, if you want to continue to do it, if you want to continue to do it, the end up is going to be very, very clear that no, I'm sorry, the amount of material each and every Republican has right now for midterms, just play these clips over and over again. Elon Omar, play these clips of some of these other dumbasses that have shot their mouth off about, no, Charlie Kirk was hateful. Just keep replaying it to people, and that's how you secure these elections.
Candace, you cannot find one thing hateful. I mean, did he say some
No.
things that were popular?
Not one.
He didn't say anything hateful. He was not hateful. He was steadfast in his beliefs. He was, he was a guy. The guy's 30. He's younger than you. The guy's 30.
He's 31 years old. And here's the thing. Religion is not popular, okay? And this is something that people need to understand. We talk about Christianity, especially when you're talking about things like orthodoxy. My family is Greek Orthodox. It is not popular. It is you have a steadfast way that is expected of you to live that way. That is the way that Christ would have wanted you to live, and that is not a popular thing. So you have somebody like Charlie Kirk saying, hey, I live my life trying to get closer to Christ, and that means the following ways. That's not hate. It's not popular, but it's not hate. And I'm really sick and tired of people who don't have a specific line in a book or a document that specifically note them. That's categorized as hatred. It's like enough is enough, because now I'm mad. And it's not good.
And let's talk about him a little bit as a man. So, he was 31 years old, married, 2 small kids. It is absolutely evident it was not fake. He absolutely loved his wife. He was a man, he's a very popular, most popular 30-year-old on earth. One of the most popular 30-year-olds, most powerful 30-year-olds on earth. He very well, nice looking guy, intelligent, well-spoken. He traveled all over the country. He very well could have had a girlfriend in every state. He didn't. Brought his wife, brought his young kids. He was what we want to raise. I have a son his age. My son's great, but this is the kind that you want to raise, and we're going to celebrate his death. What kind of world have we created? What have we created here? If that is 30 to 40%, and I said this the other night, Tom, too, on Jason's show, when 30 to 40% of our nation celebrates this man's death, we can no longer say that we have First Amendment, we have free speech. We can no longer say that we live in a free country, because we do not live in a free country. If we lived in a free country, now we don't have First Amendment, because do you feel comfortable saying everything you used to say? I'm still going to do it because I'm old, and the life, Tom, Tom knows this, the life. Yeah, Tom and I are old, Candace. The life Tom and I lived, we're on borrowed time as it is. So we're going to keep saying, we're going to keep saying what we say, but you can't say things like this are going to happen. It's unfortunate, but that's the issue to me is not the assassination as much as the aftermath. Right. When 30 to 40% of the nation is celebrating it, then we do not have free speech. So we need to quit saying, hey, we have free speech, because we don't. And that's what needs to be the most alarming thing to every public official, everybody with a platform. Like, hey, hold on a second. This is not what our country is supposed to be.
Right.
Well, and it's our fault. It's our fault because we've allowed it. We have allowed, it's like we gave the toddlers in the room unlimited power to control everybody, and that's what we've done. We've allowed these people who have been so outspoken. We should have been fucking silencing them 10 years ago, full on. But instead, we've allowed them to say whatever the hell they want. We've allowed them to do whatever they want. We've allowed them to tell us that we can't do certain things. We've shied in the background, and now we're seeing the extreme limit that it has gotten. There has been no law for them. They have been just able to do whatever they have wanted to do. They have skirted past everything because they're depressed, or they're on Xanax, or they're a man and not a woman, or whatever the hell excuse they have. And now we see how far out of control it is, and it's to the point where we can't get control of it. This is who they are now.
That's right.
Oh no, I disagree. We're going to get control over it.
No, it's happening.
Well, no, I know what you mean, but here's what I would say is that I do believe that part of the problem is it's not so much that we've allowed it, and we have by being lazy with our votes. But I tell you who's allowed it are left-leaning people. There are so many decent, hardworking, America-loving liberals in this country who would not espouse the things that these nutbags talk about. But the problem is they stay silent because they're afraid to get canceled. They're afraid to be, whether it's a celebrity or whether it's an actor or whatever, anybody that has any power at all with their voice is afraid to speak out and say, hey, get a little bit. The only person that I know of that's willing is Bill Maher.
Yeah.
He will speak up and say, that's too far. Mm-hmm. And I respect him for that. And that's what we need from the left side of the aisle, not this ridiculous behavior where they stand there in Congress and hoot and holler when, number one, when they're trying to have a moment of silence and a prayer for Charlie Kirk.
Which was Jasmine Crockett was the main one.
Of course.
Yeah. And then look at the State of the Union address when, they can boo Trump all they want. But when you have like this young man, the one that's got, with cancer that wants to be a police officer, or the people whose family members were killed by the illegal aliens, and they can't even clap for them and say thanks, show a unified front. No, that is the fault of left-leaning people who are voting those kind of ilk into office. And I believe the last thing I want to say is that I truly believe that just like with Martin Luther King Jr., whose death was a turning point in this country and established a new way of how we're going to do business when it came to race relations, this will too with Charlie Kirk. This will establish a new order in this country of how we're going to treat each other and how we're going to be. And again, I strongly urge you to look at that video from Bernie Sanders.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Because that's what we need from the left right now.
Well, here we go. We're playing it right now. Hold on.
Strongly disagreed with on almost every issue, but it was clearly a very smart and effective communicator and organizer, and someone unafraid to get out into the world and engage the public. My condolences go out to his wife and his family. A free and democratic society, which is what America is supposed to be about, depends upon the basic premise that people can speak out, organize, and take part in public life without fear, without worrying that they might be killed, injured, or humiliated for expressing their political views. In fact, that is the essence of what freedom is about and what democracy is about. You have a point of view, that's great. I have a point of view that is different than yours. That's great. Let's argue it out. We make our case to the American people at the local, state, and federal levels, and we hold free elections in which the people decide what they want. That's called freedom and democracy. And I want as many people as possible to participate in that process without fear. Freedom and democracy is not about
I think we get it. That is
I'm glad you brushed his hair for this video. Thank you, Bernie.
Yeah, he is such a train wreck. But that's where I think that's he is one thing about Bernie Sanders, and I won't say very much good about him. I will say this was very well said, and it's absolute truth. And he's pretty much was just saying what we just said. If we have that fear that we don't live in a free country. He's at old school. They're not, they're not listening to him. They should listen to him because he does get it. When it comes to that, he does get it. And, I wish they did, some of the younger ones did listen to him when it came to that, but he's right. And that's the kind of reaction you should have. And for them to say, for them to say, Tom, that I can't think of anybody's death that I have celebrated. There have, I despise Tim Walz. I despise Jasmine Crockett. If they get killed, I'm not going to celebrate. I'm not celebrating that because if they it is horrible because it is an attack on our democracy. It's an attack on our freedom. There is one person that I will celebrate their death when the time comes. He was sentenced to death. He's currently on death row for killing a friend of mine who's a state trooper. I was there when he was given the death penalty. I was in the courtroom. I celebrated then, and when he's put to death, I'm gonna celebrate. Other than that, I'm not celebrating anybody's death. That doesn't deserve to die. That's not sentenced to death. That is not supposed to die. That's not what we should be doing for anybody.
Well,
and for them to say that, well, Tom, they're saying that I can't think of any conservative that has celebrated somebody's death. That's so false. It's just total propaganda. That's what they do.
Well, it's because we're the adults in the room. It's just like that. Remember we talked a few weeks ago, we were talking about how when we're all young, we all try to fight authority in one way or the other. And then some of us grow up and some of us continue to fight authority into their midlife. And that's what liberals do. They fight, they fight rules and order. You know, and I'm not saying a lot of them, again, I have a lot of friends who lean that way that I think are very respectable people and that I would have no compunction, sharing a beer with. But what I'm saying is there are the Gavin Newsoms and the Nancy Pelosi's and the Joe Bidens of this world, the Kamala Harris's of this world are nothing but despotic, disgusting panderers to that. I sitting there in the sandbox pounding their fists when they don't get their way type of people. And we don't have room for that in America. We need people to stand up. And that's, again, what I appreciate and respect from Bernie Sanders. He's from the era that understands that. And that's probably why he did that. And it was doing the right thing. And we need our leaders in this country to do the right thing. I'm sick and tired of hearing Jasmine Crockett and Kareem, whatever his name, Jeffries, or all these people cussing and standing out in front of, on podiums and saying fuck and all this. I'm like, that Trump's a piece of shit.
They're not.
It is so, it's so undignified. It is so pathetic to stoop to that kind of level when you're in that high in office. These are Congress people, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And it's so disingenuous. These are like suit and tie wearers, and they're just like, fuck Trump. It's so fake.
It doesn't flow. It doesn't even flow. Yeah, when you and I say it, it flows. It doesn't.
Yeah, like there's some like to it. Like these guys.
I'm a pro at it. Yeah, they're doing it as
we're the common man and woman here.
That's right. But Tom, when we say it, so it's like a prop to them.
Yes.
That's their new prop is cussing, and you can tell how they just it doesn't flow right.
It's so fake. It's so fake.
And that's why
stupid, and they don't even believe it.
Oh, yeah, they're unbelievable.
And that's the thing about Bernie, though. Like, I do have to say, with Bernie,
what's that?
Talk about Bernie.
When it comes to Bernie, I'm a cynical bitch. I look at Bernie and I'm like, bro, you're just trying to get yourself a 2028 slot. That's why he came out and did that. I personally don't think Bernie does anything that doesn't benefit Bernie. That's his entire stick in life.
That's a valid argument.
I don't disagree, Candace, but he did the right thing.
He did do it.
He did actually do it. So yes.
However, I think it would have meant more if maybe AOC was along there with him. That's supposed to be his, running lady. Where's her ass?
Yeah, what are they calling? What are they calling the tour? What's that tour they call?
I don't know. The Barely Awake tour. Holy hell!
The brain dead.
Speaking
tour.
of trannies, God bless. Anyway,
so I don't know if y'all. I'm sure y'all have heard this. That's the last thing I want to cover. Have y'all, Tom? Are you familiar with the Fox News? Brian Kilmeade, the Fox News host. What he said?
Yeah, I love him.
But did you hear what he said?
No.
Oh, dude, it's bad.
Is it?
Yeah, and I want to get y'all's opinion on it. So, Tom, I'm gonna pull it up, and I will read it for you.
I knew this show was going to be a lot longer than 20 minutes, James. Come on.
I know. I don't ever believe me when I say it's 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Candace, it just means it's good. It just means we're flowing. So,
that's right.
So what he said was they were talking about the deal with the Charlotte deal, and they're talking about mental ill people who are refusing government treatment, and he's saying just give them lethal injection and just kill them. Homeless people and mentally ill.
Well.
Yeah, it's bad, and so he issued an apology. He said that. No, it's bad.
So
And
did this just happen today?
it happened a couple of days yesterday,
Oh.
maybe. I just heard about it today.
Oh,
and
crap.
he issued an apology, but I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you where I stand. Now, first off, y'all got to watch the video because it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of was thinking at first it was AI. It was that bad. I thought it was AI.
Oh.
And then I wanted to make sure that it wasn't taken out of context because I don't try to give opinions on 1 minute clips because I wanted to see what was said before that. It looks like it's really that bad. So unless I'm wrong, so unless I'm wrong, I think that he has to resign. I don't think that we can say the things that we're saying about the people who are cheering Charlie's death and not expect the same from one of our own. And I like Brian Kilmeade. And I think that, in my opinion, what has happened is he's angry, just like we're angry. Him and Charlie obviously were friends. And then all this is happening. You know, when you were on the show the other night, Candace, we were talking about Charlotte. You know, we talked about that incident. So it's a lot happening at one time. I think he got ahead of himself. I think he said some things out of anger, but if it was not out of context and it wasn't AI, then I think he has to resign.
Okay, so I have questions. So I wish I saw the video because I didn't. But what was this in reference? So he said that they should just be given lethal injections if they refuse
Involuntary
government
lethal
help.
injections. He said, so they were. So the other host was talking about the Charlotte incident. And was talking about, hey, we've got to lock them. You know, and we all agree that we have to bring the insane asylums back. You have to bring that's the problem.
That's the new MAGA. Make asylums great again. That's the new MAGA.
Yeah, and so I think that so that's what he was saying. You know, it's the host. I don't know who what his name is. He was on a show with Brian, and that's what he was talking about. And Brian said, you got an involuntary lethal injection, you got to just kill him. So, and it was in response, I'm guessing, of look at what happened in Charlotte and look, you know, but that's not okay. You can't say that. And I think he has a responsibility because of the power of the influence that he has. I think that he does have to resign.
Yeah.
All right. So, but here's my,
Go ahead, Jess.
the whole thing is like, it's frustrating because yes, I can understand what he's saying. That entire system is such a shit show. It's not even funny. We talked about this on the last show where, so for instance, the Charlotte light rail guy, he was in front of a judge. Okay. He was calling 911 saying, hey, something's in my brain. Come help me. The police would come. They said, we can't help you. This is a mental illness thing. He would fight them and then wind up in jail. Then he would be released and everything would start. The last judge he was in front of ordered him to have a mental evaluation. That evaluation was pushed back 1.5 years. So this guy was just having a crazy time on the streets of Charlotte. So there are so many people that I think hold responsibility here. And I think that may have been his thought process of, okay, so you said you wanted our money. We gave you our money. You're claiming you need more resources. We give you tax dollars. Then nothing's fucking happening. People are still out on the streets being crazy, doing their thing. Then we cut some of your mental health resources. You say, look at what Trump's doing. The mental health people can't get what they need. They couldn't get what they needed years ago. And it's just this cycle of shit constantly. It's frustrating. I get where he's coming from. But yeah, you have to be a little bit more savvy when you're on primetime TV.
Yeah. I don't think killing is the answer, but the biggest thing, two biggest problems, and they do coincide a lot. The two biggest problems we have in this country is homelessness and mental health.
Yep.
And, you know, Gavin Newsom was given $56 billion to fix homelessness, and it got worse because he was taking kickbacks and giving it to all these NGOs, you know, and so there's the system is broken. It's got to be fixed. I just don't think that Brian should have said that. And I think that as You know,
That's a fire
this will
pit
be my final.
conversation. You say
Yeah,
that shit in the fire pit, Brian. Like, come on. You don't just go
yeah,
on TV like kill the homeless. Like,
yeah.
no.
You can't
That's
do that. And so I think that this is what I'll end with on my end tonight is, if we're going to demand accountability, and there's been over 2,000 people in this country have been fired from their jobs for saying what they said about of celebrating Charlie's death, I think that we have to hold our own accountable too. So, Tom, what you want to end with?
I don't have anything to add to that. I do agree completely, and I do think that we have just done a horrible job in this country of failing people with mental health issues. I did watch that video, and I watched just before he did the stabbing. I knew as soon as I saw his face that he was suffering mental illness. I mean, doesn't justify it, doesn't make it okay. It was a horrific crime, but I knew immediately recognized it, as I'm sure many other people did. And it's such a sad commentary on, we have people in this country that need jobs, and we need to build our economy. And one of the ways we could do that is to have a robust mental health system to actually help people who need it. So that's what I'll say.
Candace, what do you want to close with?
I definitely agree with both. I think there has been this.
Are you talking to me?
No, Candace.
This has been a mismanagement. This comes down to plain and simple mismanagement of money. I think every bit of our country's issue comes from just Democrats mismanaging the shit out of our money. It comes from these blue cities that are constantly showing how badly they've mismanaged everything. And now it's taking time to clean up. And so we're starting from the bottom up. It is going to take time. We are recognizing these things as a people, as a new government. We're trying to create better and more savvy ways that our money could actually go to directly help people. It will take a lot of time. Brian, you fucked up. I gotta let him know that. Like, you can't say those things. These people are struggling, and we have to acknowledge that there is a group of people that are struggling, potentially to no fault of their own. Even if it is their fault, it's our duty as Americans to help each other, but to do it the right way where it will make a difference. We haven't figured that out yet. And so until we figure out that Krabby Patty formula, we are constantly going to be chasing our tails with how to correct the mental health issue and how to correct the crime issue. So hopefully we can figure it out.
I can't top that. It's a good place to end. So
Beautifully said.
I appreciate everybody joining us. Tom, Candace, it's a great show, and I appreciate both of y'all being here. All right, until next time, I think it will probably be next Sunday.
Perfect.
McGee, Candace, and Wells are out.
Good night, everybody.